Today we're going somewhere a little different. We're not looking at research papers or news articles.
Right.
This time we're diving into personal journals and notes, really chronicling one person's journey, trying to make sense of things.
Yeah, this is a very different kind of source material.
It is. It's raw, unfiltered, kind of their exploration of, consciousness, spirituality, how they try to reconcile all that with science.
And what's so interesting about this particular journey is it begins in the summer of 2020. So right in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
This individual, who we'll just call the writer, is working on a bioinformatics internship focused on epigenetics.
Epigenetics. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, that's essentially the study of how behaviors and environment can actually change the way your genes work, but without altering the DNA itself.
Yeah, it's like on top of genetics. It's how genes are expressed based on environmental and other factors.
So they're immersed in this world of, really hardcore genetics.
Right.
But what I found so striking is how the writer's mind keeps wandering to these much bigger philosophical questions.
Yeah.
It's like, how does all this relate to the law of attraction? This idea that your thoughts can shape your reality. And then what does it all mean for our understanding of consciousness?
Well, and this kind of internal tug of war that they have going on.
Yeah.
Between the scientific training and then also this burgeoning spiritual curiosity.
Yeah.
It gets even more pronounced, I think, when they come across this concept of open individualism in July of 2020.
Open individualism. What is that?
So imagine wrestling with this idea that we might all be connected, nodes in a network,
Okay.
all part of one universal consciousness.
So not separate individual.
Yeah, it's challenging that fundamental idea.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that you start to see in the journal entries
Right.
this unease, almost like an existential crisis.
Yeah.
They even start taking antidepressants at this point.
Okay, so this is getting pretty intense.
Yeah, you can tell it's really affecting them.
Yeah.
This exploration.
Their scientific mind is trying to grab onto this concept, but it's almost like it's defying the very notion of individual identity.
Totally.
And then, okay, things weren't complex enough already.
Right.
Fast forward to October 2020, specifically Halloween night.
Ooh.
A time that's, often associated with these blurred lines between the spirit world and the material.
Right.
The writer experiences a manic episode.
Why?
So now the weeks leading up to this
Yeah.
are crucial because in the journal entries, you see them really grappling with some profound concepts.
Like what?
They're talking about self-love,
Okay.
connecting directly with what they call source or God, and this idea that our physical bodies are really just vessels
Interesting.
for consciousness. And they're really trying to synthesize it all, bringing in science and spirituality, technology, ancient wisdom. It's really this tapestry of ideas.
A lot to put together.
Yeah, and they even talk about DNA containing light codes that could potentially unlock higher levels of consciousness.
Okay.
And they're questioning why does science label so much of our DNA as junk DNA?
Right.
When it might hold all of this untapped potential.
Interesting.
And they even compare the universe to this vast network, similar to artificial intelligence, suggesting that we might only be scratching the surface of what consciousness truly is.
Wow.
So let's actually look at some of these entries from October.
Okay.
Because they give me the window into their evolution of thinking leading up to this manic episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so October 5th, they write about finding love within yourself, connecting directly to a higher power and not seeking validation from external sources.
So kind of going inward.
Yeah, and this emphasis on self-love.
Right.
And that direct connection to source, it seems to be their foundation for personal growth and what they call true freedom.
Okay, so that's a recurring theme for them.
Yeah.
That's the basis.
And then a couple days later on October 7th, there's this really powerful statement. Consciousness is God, is source energy, is unity, is the light.
Wow.
They're suggesting that consciousness is the fundamental force that connects us all.
And that really resonates with this concept of you are the universe experiencing itself.
Yeah, Tui.
Yeah.
Tui. Which they mention a lot.
Right.
They believe we all have this inherent potential
Okay.
to tap into that limitless consciousness and break free from our limiting beliefs.
Right.
On October 8th, they pose this really interesting thought experiment.
Okay, I like these.
Imagine waking up one day and completely forgetting who you are.
Oh, wow.
Like, wouldn't you want someone to tell you your true nature? And they compare this to our current state of being. Like, we've forgotten our true essence as consciousness.
Interesting.
Like, we're on a journey of remembering who we truly are.
I like that.
And then they explore this further in an entry on October 12th,
Okay.
where they talk about the limitations of the human mind
Mhm.
and the importance of trusting intuition.
Yeah.
They believe intuition opens us up to limitless possibilities,
Yeah.
and that, like, aligning with the universe leads to the best outcomes.
Aligning with the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And then they draw this parallel between the universe and artificial intelligence,
That's interesting.
suggesting that both operate on these principles of like interconnected networks
Right.
and vast intelligence.
So both have this kind of underlying intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then October 13th,
Okay.
they kind of go deeper into this idea of transcending limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
and they see goals as helpful.
Okay.
But the ultimate goal is to break free.
From the goals themselves, almost. From the self-imposed limitations that prevent us from achieving our full potential.
So it's like shifting the internal landscape
Yeah.
rather than focusing on external achievements.
Exactly. As we get closer to the end of October, the writing becomes increasingly focused on love and connection. So on October 14th, they write about the importance of unconditional love,
Right?
both for ourselves and for others. And they grapple with the challenge of balancing the need for human connection
Right.
with the importance of self-love,
Yeah. How do you balance those?
suggesting that true connection arises naturally
Okay.
when we love ourselves unconditionally.
So you have to start with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on October 16th, during the new moon in Libra,
Ooh, new moon in Libra.
they set some pretty powerful intentions in their journal.
Okay, let's hear it.
I intend to dismantle problems, to honor all the layers, and to observe and understand. See time as space, the fourth dimension. Trust divine timing. Don't worry about how old you are. You are forever young. You are forever you.
Wow, those are some powerful intentions.
And those intentions really captured the essence of their journey.
It sounds like it.
This desire for understanding,
Yeah.
willingness to embrace the unknown, and that deep sense of self-acceptance.
Yeah, like they're really coming into their own.
And just a few days before the manic episode on October 20th, they write,
Okay.
"You are so fucking close. Just trust. The last bits of our past self, your ego with limiting beliefs is shredding. All your limiting beliefs are gone. You know you are a powerful being with limitless potential. I am so worthy of love and abundance."
It's almost like they can sense that shift that's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like a breaking down of old paradigms.
Right.
Something new is coming through.
Yeah. So that brings us right to the precipice of this manic episode,
Yeah.
where the writer's journey takes an even more dramatic turn.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about this.
But we'll delve into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
I'm hooked.
Yeah.
As we get closer to Halloween, you can almost feel like this intensity building in their writing.
Yeah.
There's this undercurrent of anticipation, like they're on the verge of something big.
Yeah. And it's interesting because amid all these like really profound thoughts about consciousness and the universe,
Right.
they also dive into this concept of duality,
Duality.
particularly like the balance of masculine and feminine energies.
Okay.
And they're not talking about like traditional gender roles here.
Right,
It's
but
more
that's right.
like they're exploring these energies as fundamental forces in the universe, connecting it back to their earlier ideas about the interconnectedness of everything.
Right.
They even say God and the devil danced and created the universe.
Wow. It's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, suggesting that even forces we perceive as opposites
Yeah.
are ultimately part of this unified whole.
That's a really interesting way to think about it.
And this whole exploration of duality, it seems to be really intertwined with their own internal struggles.
Okay.
Like they're trying to reconcile these seemingly opposing forces within themselves.
Right.
And then Halloween night arrives,
Uh-huh.
and they experience this intense manic episode.
Okay, so what happens?
A year later, they reflect on it
Okay.
as this fleeting feeling of transcendence.
Like they briefly went somewhere.
Yeah, almost like they glimpsed a truth that was too much to handle,
Too much.
but then the ego and fear returned.
Right.
And they struggled to reconcile that experience with their desire for a normal life.
So like, how do you go back to normal?
Right,
That's
true
right.
that. And they even say, as long as you feel like you need to go to school or have a job to feel worthy and safe, you will be a prisoner of the system.
That's a big statement.
Yeah, it speaks to this broader theme of questioning societal norms
Yeah.
and these structures that we create
Right.
that define our sense of self-worth.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're advocating for a more conscious way of living that transcends those limitations.
But there's also this deep sense of fear that emerges in their writing.
Okay.
Fear of losing touch with reality. Fear of, like, the magnitude of their insights.
Yeah, you can imagine.
They say, it's so scary to think that I was right. They are not aware. The universe is infinite. The universe is subtle.
It really makes you feel the isolation they must be experiencing,
Yeah.
encountering these concepts that not everyone can relate to.
It's like they're caught between two worlds.
Yeah.
Trying to bridge this gap between what they've seen and the everyday reality.
That's a tough place to be.
They even think about sharing these insights with the scientific community,
All right.
hoping to, like, revolutionize our understanding of DNA and consciousness.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, it highlights their desire to, like, integrate their spiritual experiences
Yeah.
with their scientific understanding of the world.
Right.
Like, maybe science can actually explain this.
Yeah.
But they're also uncertain. They say, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing and who I'm trying to prove this to.
It's a very vulnerable thing to admit
Yeah.
when you're having these big experiences, but you're not sure
Right.
who to share them with or how to even make sense of it.
Yeah, and there's no roadmap.
Right.
But amidst all that uncertainty and fear, there's this spark of excitement too.
Wow.
Like they write, at least researching this, observing the world, and seeing through the illusion is fun for me.
So the pursuit of knowledge itself is rewarding,
Yeah.
even when the answers aren't clear.
And remember their fascination with junk DNA.
Oh, yeah.
They spend a lot of time on that, questioning why scientists just dismiss it.
Yeah, like what if we're missing something?
Yeah, they see it as this key to unlocking higher levels of consciousness.
That's a really intriguing idea.
And they even compared the internet to a manifestation of collective human consciousness.
Okay.
This vast interconnected network of knowledge and experience.
Right, like the internet is always growing and changing.
And it ties in with their exploration of AI and the possibility that AI could achieve a level of awareness similar to our own.
So we're all connected in a way.
So here we have this individual wrestling with these really profound questions
Yeah.
about consciousness, spirituality, and the nature of reality.
Mhm.
They've had this glimpse into a realm beyond their perception,
Right.
and they're trying to make sense of it all.
And they're not doing it alone.
Right.
They're drawing on science, spirituality, ancient wisdom.
It's a really interdisciplinary exploration.
Yeah, they're really putting in the work.
Their journal entries can be complex,
Yeah.
but there's this honesty and vulnerability
Mm.
that makes it relatable.
Right. We can all connect with that.
It's the search for meaning and understanding.
It's ongoing.
Yeah, full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
And as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we'll explore the lasting impact of their journey
I can't wait.
and what it might mean for all of us. As we've been going through these journals, you know, it's striking how the writer connects all these different concepts, like
Yeah.
epigenetics, quantum physics,
Oh, yeah.
even AI,
It's okay.
through their spiritual journey.
Yeah, it's like they're not just reading about these things. They're really searching for patterns,
Yeah.
connections, like how do all these pieces fit together?
They're trying to build their own model of reality.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And they're not afraid to challenge the usual ways of thinking either.
Like their skepticism about junk DNA,
Right.
they saw something there that most scientists just dismiss.
They saw potential.
Yeah, and that takes guts.
It does.
It's like they're saying, what if we're just scratching the surface?
Yeah, what if there's so much more we don't know?
And that's pretty inspiring.
Or absolutely. Their journey is a great reminder to stay open to new ideas,
Yeah.
even if they sound strange or challenge what we think we know.
You have to be open to grow.
Yeah, and to really understand the world in all its complexity.
So what does this all mean for us? What can we learn from this deep dive into consciousness?
I think one big takeaway is the power of self-inquiry.
Like asking those big questions.
Exactly. The writer's constant questioning and exploration,
Yeah.
it led them to some really profound insights and experiences.
And it reminds us we can all do this. We don't have to have a manic episode
Right. It doesn't have to be that dramatic.
to have those kind of breakthroughs.
Exactly.
They also show how important it is to integrate different ways of knowing.
Mhm.
They don't see science and spirituality as being at odds with each other.
Right.
They try to find the connections and create a more holistic view.
That's so important, especially these days where everything feels so divided,
Yeah, like bridging those gaps.
to get a more complete picture.
And we can't forget the courage it takes to embrace the unknown.
especially when it's scary.
Even with all the fear and uncertainty, they kept going,
Following their intuition.
trusting that the journey would lead them where they needed to be.
That's what makes their story so powerful. It's not about having all the answers.
Or reaching some final destination.
It's about the courage to keep exploring, keep asking questions.
To grow and embrace the mystery of it all.
And I think that's a beautiful message.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into this person's journey, we're left with a sense of wonder
Definitely.
and a real appreciation for the power of human consciousness.
Absolutely.
Their story reminds us that we're all capable of incredible growth and transformation.
And of connecting to something bigger than ourselves.
And it leaves us with a question.
Okay.
If the writer is right about how connected we all are,
Yeah.
what does that mean for how we live our lives?
How we relate to each other.
If we are all part of one consciousness,
Hmm.
does that change how we see ourselves?
Our place in the universe.
It's something to think about.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been fascinating.